Hello students, in previous lectures I discussed with you the topics data handling using pandas, in which I explained you advanced operations on data frame, pivoting, sorting and aggregation. But students, now CBSE makes some changes in class plus 2 IP syllabus. CBSE has introduced some more topics and removed some topics from the syllabus. The new added topics are networking, and in first unit data handling using pandas, the series are introduced in detail. So comparatively previous syllabus, this syllabus is easy. So let me start syllabus from introduction to Python libraries. Python library हमने ऑलरेडी डिस्कस किया है पहले. अब इस लेक्चर में हम फिर से पाइथन लाइब्रेरी से कंटिन्यू कर रहे हैं. सो लेट वी स्टार्ट आवर फर्स्ट टॉपिक अंडर द रिवाइज सिलेबस ऑफ सीबीएसई, डाटा हैंडलिंग यूजिंग pandas and introduction to Python libraries. Students, you know what is Python library? A library is a collection of functions and methods that allow you to perform many actions without writing your code. There is no need to write code. You can access the library and you can use the functions under that particular library. For example, Python pandas. Python pandas library is used for data manipulation and analysis. For making the analysis on data or manipulation of data, we use this library Python pandas. I discussed this library with you in detail in previous lectures. You can see what is Python pandas library, all these topics discussed in detail. The second library is NumPy library. NumPy library, as you know, this library is used for numerical operations in Python for computing scientific and mathematical data. NumPy especially used for arrays. So in class plus 1 we discussed this library in detail. The next library is matplotlib library. This is new. Matplotlib library is used to create 2D graphs and plots by using Python script. Using Python script, if you have to draw graphs, then first we have to use matplotlib library. Next library, Python imaging library. This library is used for image manipulation in Python. So students, there is 200 plus libraries in Python which we can use, but in our syllabus there is only two or three libraries. These are pandas, matplotlib library and NumPy library. So there is no need to go where the syllabus of CBSE. We will discuss only pandas, matplotlib and NumPy. NumPy we already discussed in class plus 1. So next topic are data structures in pandas. Before starting data structures in pandas, you should know what is data structure. Data structures are a way of organizing and storing data in a computer so that it can be accessed and worked with within an appropriate way. They define the relationship between the data and the operations that can be performed on the data. In simple way, you can say data structures can be divided into two categories in computer science: primitive and non-primitive data structures. प्रिमिटिव एंड नॉन प्रिमिटिव हमने क्लास +1 में ये किया था कि प्रिमिटिव डाटा स्ट्रक्चर्स क्या है और नॉन प्रिमिटिव क्या है। ये ग्राफ देख के आपको क्लियर हो जाएगा। Primitive and non-primitive. In primitive, there is a integer, float, string, and boolean type data. And in non-primitive, we discuss the arrays, list, tuple, dictionary, set file, etc. Set file not in syllabus. We discussed array, list, tuple, and dictionary. So actually, this is the data structure. When we create objects using these data structures, that are called data structures in pandas. So which objects you can create, which data structures you can create using primitive and non-primitive? These are series. Series, it is a one-dimensional structure storing homogeneous mutable data. Series is a one-dimensional array. It is one-dimensional array structure storing homogeneous mutable data. Homogeneous means the same type of data. All the elements has same type. In this data structure, the elements should be same type, and it is mutable, which can be modified. You can make changes in these elements. So we will discuss it in detail later on. Second is data frames. It is two-dimensional structure storing heterogeneous multiple data type, mutable data. अब डाटा फ्रेम्स में मल्टीपल डाटा टाइप्स हो सकती है, सीरीज में सेम टाइप की डाटा है, and both are mutable. Third is panel. Third data structure in pandas is panel. It is not in your syllabus. It is three-dimensional way for storing items. So we will discuss only series and data frames. So first, series, one-dimensional, as we discussed, it is one-dimensional array like structure with homogeneous data. For example, the following series is a collection of integers 10, 23, 56, etc. All these are the elements of a series. So when we store it in the form of array, it will become a series, one-dimensional series. You can say it is one-dimensional array. Key points of series is it is homogeneous data. All elements of this series has same type. All are integer type, and secondly, its size is immutable. The size is immutable. This is the important thing you have to learn. The size of the series is immutable, but the value of the series is mutable. Size mean execution time, you can't increase this series. It is immutable, but the elements, you can change the elements during execution. You can change the element of this series, but you can't change the size of this series. If there have 10 elements, then it will remain 10 elements. You can't increase its size, you can't decrease its size. It is fixed, but you can change the value of. Now student, next is syntax for creating a series. Syntax, first is the name of pandas variable dot series method, and the arguments for the series method is data, index, data type, and copy. The parameters of the series method are as follow. First is data. Data takes the various forms like nd array, list, constant values, etc. In place of data, you can pass any value from a list or from an array, or it may be a constant value. The second argument is index. The index value must be unique. We have to pass an index. We can generate an index, but this and the index value should be unique, and it should be of same length as data, and default index is started with 0, 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. And the next element is data type. This is the data type of the list, array or the elements which you have to pass in data. It will display the data type for the data element. And next is copy. Copy argument is used to copy the contents. Students, data type and copy argument is not in your syllabus, so we have to do data and index practically. So next is methods to create a series. A series can be created using various input like array, dictionary, scalar value or constant. So let me discuss one by one. First, creating an empty series, a basic series without any data parameter. This is called empty series. For example, we created a series in data variable and no argument has been passed in this series. When you will print this series, then it will display empty value, there is no value, and the data type, by default data type, it will show float type. Next is creating a series using list. Now in place of data we have to pass a list. In data argument we have to pass a list. Series object is equal to pandas dot series, then data and index value. Series is, we create a series in D variable which has the type PD, pandas type. Then the argument for the data is 10, 20, 30 and 40, and we print this series, and this series without index. Index is not compulsory, so this series, we generated this series without index, and now the output is 10, 20, 30, 40 and its default type is int, so its display data type as int, and the default index is 0, 1, 2, 3. This is the output when we generate a series using list. Now the second example, series using list, in which we create a series using an index. Now we have passed index value A, B, C, D, and now you can see the output. In output it will display in A, B, C, D index. In place of 0, 1, 2, 3 it is displaying A, B, C, D due to the index value. Next is how to create a series using array. Now in data argument we have to pass array. You know, for array we have to import one more library, that is numpy, because we have to use array in this example. That's why we use numpy library in this example. We use two libraries, pandas and numpy. Now we created a array with string type values. These are string type values in this array, and we pass it. Data is the variable in which we define this array, and we pass this variable as argument data, comma, index is 1, 2, 3, then we print this series. Now the output is number 1 Amit, number 2 Sumit, number 3 Rajat, number 4 Suman. So the data type is object type, it is object type value. Second, next is creating a series using dictionary. Now we have to create a series using dictionary. Using dictionary to create a series gives us advantage of built-in keys used as index. Students, when we use dictionary to create a series, then there is no need to give index value, because you know in dictionary there is two type of values you have to pass. First one is key and the second is the value for that key. So it automatically take the key as the index value. We don't need to declaring any index as a separate list. Built-in keys will be treated as index. Now you can see in this example we have created a dictionary. In this dictionary passed as the parameter for series method. You know in dictionary there is two part. The first one is the key and the second is the value for that key. Now in this example January is the key and 31st is the value. Next in next element February is the key and 28 is the value. And in third argument third element March is the key and 31 is the value. And in next element of this dictionary April is the key and 30 is the value. Now we print this dictionary. Now it will display output like this. In this series you can see in place of index values it is displaying January, February, March and April. These are the key values of this dictionary. So there is no need to pass index. It automatically generates the index according to the key value. Now next is creating a series using scalar or constant value. Students, you can pass constant value as data parameter in a series. It can be created using a scalar or constant value. It is must to provide index when we create a series using scalar. When you have to create a series using constant value, then it is must to provide index value. So this constant value will be repeated to match the length of the index. अब इंडेक्स में जितनी वैल्यूज है उतनी बार ये कांस्टेंट वैल्यू जो है वो रिपीट हो जाएगी. नाउ इन दिस एग्जांपल यू कैन सी in this series we pass value 10. 10 is constant value, it is fixed and the index is 1 2 3 4. When you will print this series, then it will display 10 4 times because the value is fixed, the value is constant. That's why it is displaying 10 for each index. Next is mathematical operations on series. Students, you can apply mathematical operations, arithmetic operators on a series also. If you are using two series, then you can combine, you can add these series, you can divide these series. Mathematical processing can be performed on series using scalar values and functions. All the arithmetic operators such as plus, minus, multiplication and division can be performed on series. Now in this example you can see we have two series D and S. We generate two series in variable D and S. In first series we pass the values 10 20 30 40 and in series B there is 20, 34, 45 and 50. Now we apply these arithmetic operators when we print the series. In first we add these two series. In second print command we print the first series, subtract the first series from the second series, and in third we multiply both the series, and in fifth first series divided by second series. Now you can see example output. In index first it is displaying 30 because the addition of 20 and 30. In first print command we use addition it will make the addition for both series. The next is 54, 75 and 90. Now you can see 50 plus 40, 90, 45 plus 30, 75, 34 plus 20, 54, 20 plus 30, 20 plus 10 is 30. Now in second we print, we subtract the elements of first series from the second series. This is the output 10, 14, 15 and 10. And in third we apply multiplication on both series, then it will multiply the elements of both series, then division. So in this way you can apply mathematical operations on series also. Now the next is head and tail functions on series. Students, these are two methods provided by Python, head and tail, which you can apply on a series and data frames also. The first is head method. It will display first 5 values from series. When you apply any head method on any series, then it will display the topmost 5 elements of this series, and tail method will return the last 5 values from a series. Now we can do it practically. Suppose we have this 2 series and we apply this method on second series with head. हम इनको कमेंट्स बना देते हैं, मैंने प्रिंट की कमांड्स यूज की है स्टूडेंट्स, हम इसको कमेंट बना देते हैं, मल्टी लाइन कमेंट्स. You know multi-line comments we can pass in Python by using single quotation 3 times and close this quotation, and now these 3 commands are comments for this program. Now when you will execute now in output you can see we apply the head method on second series, that is s dot head. It will display top 5 elements, top 5 values from this series. These are 20, 34, 45, 50 and 50. So this is head method. Students, you can apply any method directly on shell. On this place we can apply tail. So there is no need to write print. You can directly write s dot tail. S dot tail. Then it will display last 5 values from this series. From S series it will display last 5 values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from 34, 55, 66, 77 and 88. So these are head and tail methods which you can use. So next topic is accessing data from series with position. Now we have to retrieve data from series. Data in the series can be accessed similar to that in an array. As we access the data in an array by passing the value, by passing the element position, we can access the value. Now in example 1, retrieve the first element. As we already know, the counting starts from 0 for an array. The index value for first element is 0 which means the first element is stored at 0 position and so on. So when we write s of 0, it means it will display the value of first element. Now you can apply this command on shell. On shell we write s of 0, it will return 20 because on the first index, 0 index, the value is stored 20 and it return 20. If you have to access the value of second index, that is 1, it return 34. S of 4, it return 50 and so on. You can access any value by passing the index value in same as we access in arrays. Now if you have to access values according to the range, suppose you have to access first 3 elements as we access in head. Without using head, you can access first 3 elements or first 4 elements from a series. You will write it like this by using this parameter s semicolon and 3. It will return first 3 elements from this series. As we discussed in example 2, to retrieve the first 3 elements in the series, if colon is inserted in front of it, all items from that index onward will be extracted up to 3, not included the third one, 0, 1 and 2. It will retrieve the values of 0 index, first index and second index, not the third index. Third index is not included. If 2 parameters with semicolon between them is used, items between the 2 indexes, not included the stop index. Remember students, the stop index not included in it, as you see in example. As you see in this series, we use semicolon and 3. It will display the values for 0 index, first index and second index. If you will use this command with both parameters from starting to end, first is from first to fourth, it means it will display values for first index, second index and third index, not for fourth index. First index is 34, this is 34, for second is 45 and for third is 50. So students, this is the series. Now in next lecture we will discuss data frames. Data frames we have done already, but there is some more functions included in data frame, that is text, CSV files, etc. We will discuss these functions in next lecture. Okay, now revise this series.